Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Small Business Cheerleader podcast. I'm joined today by the lovely Megan from Relevant. How are you today, Megan?
I'm great, Nicola. How are you?
Good, good. Today we're going to talk about all things personal branding.
My favorite topic.
Yes, your favorite topic, something I love to talk about. I know we could go on for hours. I want to make sure that we're providing value for everyone that's listening. Now, from your expertise when it comes to branding, I'd love you to let everyone know what is personal branding and what do people need to know in regards to their business.
So personal branding, whether you're in business or you're employed, so it doesn't matter whether you're business-minded, career-minded, or anything really. It could even be that you're a stay-at-home mum, but you want to be have a board position in the school board or whatever. You have a personal brand. Every time you walk out of the door or you post something online, and it's basically what people think, feel, and say about you. And that's based on the information that they can gather about you. So if they're checking you out online, so you're applying for a job or you're applying, not applying, but you put a proposal out to a potential client, they're going to check you out online. They're on your LinkedIn, they're probably checking out your Facebook, your Instagram, they're seeing where you've worked previously, they're basically checking out your digital footprint. Same with when you walk out the door and you go to a networking event, people are checking you out. You've got 7 seconds and they're going, oh, is this person for me or not for me type thing. So you're always putting out this information, and what people are deciding is whether they like you. So they're forming thoughts, they're forming feelings, and then they're forming conversation that they will then pass on to someone else, which is good because it's always, whether it's good or bad, what they pass on, at least you're not being forgotten. Yeah. So just to be conscious that you do have one, whether you're actually being intentional with it or not. And I guess the difference is that you can get swept up. So you start living a life and doing jobs and getting the kind of clients that someone else thinks that you want and thinks is best for you, versus when you're intentional with your personal brand, you start creating a life that is actually more true to you, which is much, much easier in the long run because you're not acting, etc. So it's just basically what people think, feel, and say about you. And believe it or not, if you're not putting information out there, they are going to start making it up anyway.
Oh, that is 100%. And I know even when I've had interns work with me or looking to employ people, it's just the way it is. The first thing I do is jump online. I go to their Instagram, their LinkedIn, and their Facebook. It's the first thing I do. And I just want to see, who is this person? You know, what's the sense am I getting from them? Are they a big partier? Are they someone who looks like they're authentic to themselves, or are they very showy? It's something that, because I take my core values in my business very, very highly. So I'm looking to take someone in who has the values that I perceive. And as you say, if you don't have anything online, or you have something that might not really be what you're about, I'm going to take that on board and I'm going to make a decision based on what's out there. So, I mean, people can ignore online as much as they want, but you're right. Even if you are somebody that's not doing that as a job, your personal brand is still something that people can find online.
Yeah, and we're always making assumptions. What we don't know, we fill in the blanks, and that's probably what's more dangerous. A lot of people think that with personal branding, it's about being internet famous and about gathering as many likes on Instagram and being a Kardashian and, you know, wearing as little as possible online. It's totally not. When I build someone's personal brand, or I help someone build their personal brand and be strategic about it, it's about being industry famous. It's about being known to the people that actually matter. And that's the difference. You can go chasing likes on any social media platform you like, but unless that converts to actual cash, as in it's getting you jobs, it's getting you clients, or it's getting you opportunities to collaborate, or whatever it is that you're looking for, it's worthless. It's just Vanity Matrix. So it's just to be a bit more...
Yeah. That's exactly right, isn't it? It's your authentic self, but it's about, it's your brand. It's literally your brand, isn't it? You are your brand, and people are going to make assumptions on what type of person you are. So if you're out there and it's your story, you're telling your story, you're telling your experiences, and people will then decide if that's somebody that they want to go on the journey along with. And this is where podcasts can come in regards to getting that story across. Or a lot of people online are now jumping on board with their story and how a story brand. I mean, there's lots of books out there about building that story in your brand, because people will want to go along on a journey with someone that they can either identify with or that they want to be like, in regards to, their life and in being inspired inspired. And a brand can do that too, can't it?
Oh, yeah, 100%. And that's why stories are so important, because our brains are programmed to be able to remember our stories. When you hear someone talking about facts and figures, sometimes if there's like massive, like 90% of people have all got COVID in my hometown, then you go, wow, that's a big stat and I'm going to remember that. But generally speaking, stats and numbers, they disappear, they fleet. We just know whether it was big or not, but we forget about it. Stories and how people make us feel, that's what we remember. You go back to cave days, they were drawing pictures and stories within caves. Look at Egyptians and all the stories that they have around the place. That's just, as people, we are programmed to understand and remember stories, and that's why they're so important, because not everyone will remember your story because it doesn't resonate with them. They just don't care. It's just not something that's relevant to them, relatable, whatever. That's fine. But the more you tell your story and the more people that you put offside, the more space there is for the people who actually need you and the people who really resonate with that story and that you can help and that you can become an employee of, or they can become a client or you can collaborate with. There's more room for them to see you because you've got rid of all the people that just aren't interested. When you're trying to, and you know this as well in all marketing, when you try and please everyone, you please no one because you're wishy-washy. You really have got to take a stance on one side of the fence, be as authentic to yourself and not be worried about who doesn't like you, because believe me, there's plenty of people like that. They're just, the sooner you get rid of them and the sooner that you put them off, the sooner you get right in front of the people that matter.
Yeah, and I mean, that's basically what's behind the algorithm. It's about what people will want to see. And if you are what they will want to see, you will stand out because you are being authentic. And people, as you say, I mean, unfollows are probably the best things you can get because it means that your algorithm is becoming a lot more authentic to your true story. Because people are going to jump on or off and realize you are or aren't for them. And if you have a stand on a certain story or a position that is true to you, then people will follow that journey. And that's definitely, now we're seeing that more with Instagram stories being so huge as opposed to a feed, which was much more curated. People were starting to get off that curated look because everyone was creating it. Whereas now stories, people like to see, what are you doing? What does your day look like? What is really happening in your world? And is that I'm not alone is what people like to see now. They don't want to be thinking they're the only person going through something.
Yeah, 100%.
Now tell me, with your offline and your online persona, do they need to be the same or does it need to be different? How do you work that through with your clients?
They need to be the same because you are just one person. We all have different versions of ourselves depending if we're with clients or with our boss or with our friends and family or with our kids or pets. There's a different version of us and that's totally fine. That doesn't mean that you're not true every time you turn up somewhere. It just means that a different part of you is more a light, I guess, at that certain time. And, if you're looking at LinkedIn, that's your professional network, then yeah, everything that you do offline professionally, you want to take that online. You're at a networking event or you've just closed a really big project that is massive and there's some benefits for other people to see what you've done, or you've got some wins for your clients, celebrate your clients' wins, etc. But bring all of that online, because you go to a networking event and unless you're the person who's actually speaking, you can't actually get in front of every person there. You were lucky if you can maybe talk to 5 to 10 people properly, like an actual conversation where you can actually remember something about the person, follow up with them, etc. So there's 10 people maximum that you've probably touched in some way. If you bring that online and use the hashtags and you geotag that you were there as well, no matter what platform it is, you're going to find other people who were also there. They'll all of a sudden start the conversation or end up in your DMs because they're like, oh, I was also there. What did you think of such and such? So there you've made a connection that was sitting the other side of the room that you would never have otherwise made. So now maybe you're in front of 100 people. So you've changed that networking event from, networking technically with 10 people to maybe 100 people. And that's the difference. It also starts showing, what are you interested in? If you're going to events that are always similar, then it says, oh, well, you're in that industry or that's what you're passionate about. It doesn't mean you have to put everything online. I'm not a big believer in like personal branding. We talked about the Kardashians quickly earlier. I'm not a big believer in putting absolutely everything online. I'm a big believer in putting what you think is important online. And you've also got to remember everyone's putting the highlight reels. There's very few people that are putting the lows on there as well. But you're definitely going to reach a much greater audience if you bring that online. But yeah, same person, online, offline, because if not, one of them's going to be an actor, because it's really hard to have these two personalities.
That's it. And we're not asking people to overshare, because a lot of people were like, well, my personal life's private, and it certainly can be, but it's about showing up as your real self on whichever platform you are. And I remember just last week, I put a video up onto LinkedIn about how I'd said no to a big client that I'd worked with prior on a big marketing project, because it wasn't aligned anymore with really who or what my business was about. And I just wanted people to know that, sometimes when you stand true to your core values, you're saying something without really saying something. You're really showing how you stand up for what you believe in. And that was one of the ones that got the most interaction and the most views, because people could see that in themselves, and how times they've taken on clients they didn't want to, or they're like, it could have inspired someone to say, yeah, that's right, I'm not about that anymore. So I think those sorts of things are where people can really get into your story and really from your experiences take and learn new things. And I think that's what I find the most out of online presence from people that I'm interested in, is the learning, and that they're taking from what they might have experienced and what I can gain from that. And I think that's why social media has the biggest benefit for me anyway, in regards to work and personal. You learn things that you can bring into your own world and your own brand from other people.
Yeah, and people are always watching. We talked about Vanity Matrix earlier. If you're on Instagram, etc., you're chasing a lot of the double clicks and give me as many likes as possible. Different platforms like LinkedIn, they're very passive. I can have a post that goes up and it maybe has 10 likes on it, but I've had like 2,000 or 3,000 views on the back end, and I'll have some DMs about it, or I go to an event and someone will say, oh, I saw that post about, whatever it was. And that's what actually matters, because again, 1,000 likes on something on Instagram doesn't get me any clients, doesn't get me anything. They're just scrolling, and people are quite mindless on there, just double tap and scroll past, and that's fine. Like you said, stories, that's why stories are so popular now, because we dip in and out of the ones we actually care about, and we're actually consuming that. That's where I think LinkedIn has quite a bit of magic at the moment, because you've got so many passive users. They're consuming that content, but they're not creating it themselves. So it's very passive, but it's actually working and it's converting. And you're right, those personal stories, they're actually massive. They're the ones that do get you the wins, because people are always having a look and they're just trying to work out, how is it that you can help me? Because we're all self-interested. As much as we talk about helping others, and we do want to help others, because you're the same as me, I get a real buzz when I do help a client and we get some real good wins. But that's also selfish, because it feels good for me. So it's a win for everyone. But that person is looking at me the same way as your clients are looking at you, going, but how can you help me? What is it you're going to do? Oh, you're going to get me more visible, so that means that you're going to get me this opportunity. We've got goals in mind. Everyone does. That's why we work with different people. So yeah, we just be really conscious about what you put out, because people are consuming it. But if you put stuff out that is, we talk about content pillars in marketing. It's the exact same with your personal brand. You have to have 3 or 4 things that you talk about continually. And one of those things can be quite personal. For me, it's gin. On Instagram, I've always been quite happy to talk about gin. On a Friday, I post a picture about my favorite gin, etc. And I was really hesitant to put that on LinkedIn for a while. It's now part of my bio. And I can tell you that probably about, 7 out of 10 people who connect with me will make a comment about gin. They will say, oh, I love gin too. Have you tried this one? Have you done this? What's your favorite one, etc. It starts the conversation, because it's human, it's real. Whereas if it's just about your job and it's just like professional, well, there's 100 marketers out there. There's 100 accountants, 100 lawyers. Like, you're just in the mix. So you need to have something that is a little bit personal without giving away your whole life. You don't have to have 100% of you on there, just enough so that people can see this is a real human just like me.
Oh, that is so true, because I've noticed since the past probably year or so of Instagram, I've been sending out a personal message when people follow.
Yep.
but not a, hey, come work with me, whatever. It's, hey, thanks for the follow. I'm Nicola. This is what I'm about. I got my team. We love helping small businesses. Here's 5 things you might not know about me. You know, I'm a parent to, 2 whippets. I, love reality TV. I'm allergic to exercise. It's a thing. And the amount of comments I've got from people saying, oh my God, I can't believe you're allergic to exercise. Exercise is great. I'm like, it was a joke, but yes, I am. And then the other one's about, oh my God, I've got whippets too. I've got greyhounds. Oh my God. And then you send pictures of your dogs. And then the next thing you know, you're working together.
Yep.
The biggest one I get is when I say I'm a fan of reality TV, which I am. It's my guilty pleasure, as most people. The amount of people I've connected with and ended up working with because we've had a conversation about which one do you love?
Yep.
Just from that one thing, oh my God, I love maths. Which one do you love? And I'm like, I love Teen Mum too. Oh my God, how bad is that? And they're like, oh my God, I love, the Housewives of Orange County. And the next thing you know, you're having a conversation, and you're building that trust because people are realizing, and the amount of people that have said, oh my God, it's so nice to talk to a real person.
Yep.
Instead of getting an automated response, which is fine too, mine is not automated, but it is a response I craft, but responding straight back. Yeah. That's when I get those conversations happening. People are like, oh my God, you're a real person. I didn't think you'd actually respond. So, those sorts of things people need to realize too, that people are looking for connection. And if you're providing like your gin, and I've got a girl, Katie, that works with me, loves gin. And, you need to have, mine is my dogs and my reality TV and my aversion to exercise. So people it triggers them in ways they have to comment. And I find that that's interesting.
And it stimulates debate because I hate reality TV. So I would be saying to you, I hate that. Why are you watching that? You need to be watching MacGyver. It's hilarious. And you'd be like, no, I'm not interested.
And this is what I mean, because people will. And with the exercise thing, I put that in as a joke because people who know me, I try and I fail and I try and I fail. So I'm literally allergic to it. The amount of people that are triggered by that, and they would tell me, oh my God, I can't believe you don't like exercise. I love it. And I'm like, I can't believe you're talking to me about this, but okay, let's have a conversation about exercise. And you'll get to know that I have a sense of humor. And they're like, oh, I get it. Okay, cool. Yeah. And then so people need to realize it is about a personality, and your brand becomes your personality, and having things that people can identify with or even debate. You're right. If you have a view on something, like I had the view on saying no to that client, I had responses. Well, not everyone can say no. And I'm saying, yeah, but everyone has a choice. So you have a choice to make that decision. Yeah. And my choice is that I would stand by my values. Other people may make a choice, but you have a choice. And so you do have that discussion, and it's open.
But it depends.
That's important.
Yeah, but it also depends what stage in business you're in, because as far as I'm concerned with personal branding, it's very much about finding your niche, finding what it is you're interested in. It doesn't have to be forever. You're more than, you can pivot, you can change, things change. You're a real human, and you know what? You're probably going to be working for 40 plus years. If you're going to be the same person for 40 years, then something's gone wrong. You've not had much of a life. We change, and that is totally okay. But if you're at the beginning, you shouldn't niche down too soon, because you don't know what you don't like. You've got to really hate things and know how bad things were to know that there's something else that you want. I remember I got this job as a dish hand when I was like 13 or 14, and it was in this little restaurant that my mum used to go to quite a bit. And she said, oh, Megan needs a job. And they put me in the kitchen. I was cleaning dishes and stuff. And I remember coming home and sitting on the couch and like being nearly in tears and being like, I didn't even know this job existed. I was so upset that there was some poor person in the back of every restaurant cleaning these dishes. How I thought it happened, I don't know. But I sure as hell didn't want to do that when I grew up. So I know that I hate that. So you've got to know and try lots of different things when you're younger. You start a new business, of course you don't have the luxury to say no to a client, because you're worried about revenue, you're worried about surviving. But as you develop in your business and you know what you will and won't put up with, then yeah, of course you have to, because there's so much more strength in your yes when you use your no. And I just think that's super
exactly
important.
Right. And I mean, as I said in the post that I put up, having worked with this client multiple times, I came to that conclusion that a no was better for my business and my energy
and my mental health.
Like you said, you have to go through it to understand how draining
Yep.
this sort of client can be on your energy. Because when you're young, oh, it's all about, I'm going to build it, I'm going to build it, I'm going to build it. You take on everyone, you deal with it. Then you get to a stage in business where you need to put those boundaries in place, because your energy is so important, and you only want to give your energy to people who really, really deserve it and light you up. And I think that's what listening to multiple people can bring you on that journey of taking in all those experiences and getting to a point in your business where you can sit down and make those points. And like I say to my clients, because we do lots of work on your why and your vision, mission, and values, because I find only from then can you really set in place your business direction and your marketing and your voice. Because unless you understand why you started your business and where you want to get to and how you're going to get there, everything you're saying is not really relevant unless you understand it and you have a point of view and a voice. So I think it's really important for people to understand that. And you're so right. It's not something you can do at the beginning of your business, but something in those first 10 years you need to work towards. And that's what I try and do with my clients in regards to understanding it and making sure the content you're putting out there is in line with what you stand for.
Yeah, no, I think it's super important. And, that's why I love personal branding, because the more you lean into who you are and you start building and you actually become quite intentional with building a personal brand, people just don't bother you with different opportunities that that you have to say no to, because half the time it's really awkward. How do I say no to this person without offending them? They stop turning up because people are so clear on what it is that you do and don't do, because you've been really clear about it. That saying, your network is your net worth. Well, it's only your net worth if your network knows what you do. If not, it's worthless. It's just people, they know your name, but what can they throw your way, because they've got no idea what you really do. So just being crystal clear about who you are and what you do and who you do it for, it saves you so much time in the long run.
And I mean, and that's what I was sort of getting to in that post I put up. Be really, really strong with your energy, because it when it comes to mental health and it comes to your health and it comes to your family, the more that you're putting out there, like you're saying, trying to be everything to everyone, the more overwhelmed you're getting, the more disillusioned you get with your business, the more uncertain that you're actually making an impact. Whereas if you're really certain on what it is you're doing in regards to your why, not your product offering or whatever, your actual why you're doing it, people will gravitate to that because they can see that. And I just want people to understand that, because it is so very important. And when I finally got on top of that in myself, you do realize that, you might have been putting people off, but then it wasn't the people you really wanted to begin with. So it saves all that time of those discovery calls when you realize, no, we're not really a match. You're really getting people and people are stalkers. We know what they're like. They stalk you for 2 years before they usually even take you on, because a lot of the time they want to really understand it. And then there's times I get emails from people I've been following for 2 years, and it all of a sudden hits me at a time in my business when I needed what it is they have. And I've been following their journey. I know they're exactly the person I need. So people
definitely
starting out in business might not be ready for me and my intents with the why vision, but then maybe 5 years in, they might need more direction, and they'll go, oh, she does that, and I really liked what she had to say, and they'll come back. And I think that's where your branding, like you say, your personal branding is about really knowing who you are, being authentic to that, and having all of that out there so that when people are ready, they're ready and they know who you are and that they can trust you. I think that's important. Now, I want to know, what are some of the key takeaways that people can start working on themselves when it comes to their personal branding from your experience?
First of all, have a look at your digital footprint. Google your name, what comes up, look in the images, look around the place, see what actually pops up. What are other people seeing when they Google you? Especially the images, because they might be pulling some pictures from some uni days that you perhaps don't want anyone to see anymore. Find the source of these pictures and then either take them down or hide them, make them private so that potential clients or potential employers don't see them. Be more kind of, I guess, intentional with your footprint as well, to make sure that the right stuff is coming up, make sure that it's all coded so that, you know, Megan MacNeill is behind these images if it's on websites or if it's on social media, because you want to be the first person to turn up if someone is looking you up. You don't want there to be any confusion with someone else with a similar name, which, Nicola, you're quite lucky because there's no one else with your name, as long as they spell it right. You know, so be a little bit more conscious about what people are actually seeing. What are other people seeing of you? Make sure that you've got a great profile picture on all your social media channels, and it's the same one if possible, because a confused mind just kind of goes, nah, don't know what to do here. So a similar picture is fine, but if it's one where you've got, you know, a short blonde bob in one profile and then you've got long brown hair in another, yes, it might still be you, but it's a little bit confusing for people. I just talk about LinkedIn especially, same as an online dating app. You know, nobody wants to feel duped. Nobody wants to turn up in that Zoom meeting or a coffee meeting and it be a person that turns up that they're not expecting, because it's still relationship building, maybe not romantically, and they don't have to be attracted to you. It's very much, you don't need to worry about that, but it's just that feeling of, oh, it's the right person that showed up, because we don't like to feel silly. So good headshot, make sure it's you, there's no props in there, there's no other people. Again, dating app, how often if you're on one you swipe left? I'm happily married, by the way, but you know, just as a great example, you know, you swipe left because there's 10 boys in there, because you're like, well, which one are you? I don't want to end up with the dud. So, you know, make sure it's just you. Just be really conscious about what people are seeing of you online, because nowadays that's actually what they see first. Like you and I, Nicola, we're part of the same networking group, but we only know each other online. And if we had turned up here today and I didn't look like the person you expected, yes, we'd get chatting because we're both very chatty and it'd probably be fine, but there would be that kind of awkwardness to start with. If you're looking to sell anything, whether it's yourself, your products, your services, it just puts you on the back foot. So try and make it as easy as possible for people to want to work with you, to trust you, because, you know, it's super hard to try and build up that trust, but oh my God, it's so easy to just lose it.
Oh, isn't it? And what I find also at some networking events or even people I've worked with in the past, I see them online and I get a sense of who they are and I get excited to meet them.
Yep.
And sometimes they're completely different.
Oh.
And that's really confusing, because I'm who I am and you'll get what you get. So I'm like, hey, you know, I saw you online and thing, and they'll go, yeah. And I go, oh, okay. I thought we might have a bit more conversation, but that's okay. And I feel off put, because I see them on stories and I see them, you know, on their content, and I think, wow, they're just like me. They're like, you know, so I'm at a networking event. Hey, how you doing? You know, and I look like a freak because I'm like, you know, and they're like, oh, and I was like, oh my God. And then it's really awkward. I stand there and I go, oh, okay, I don't really know you then. And so that's, I think, what I find anyway, that if you are who you are, be who you are. If you're quiet, you're quiet. Don't try and be something you're not, just to make it look like you're whoever, because it's really off-putting when people see you in real life, or a discovery call or something. If they get a different vibe than what they get online.
Oh, so yeah, I couldn't agree more with that, because there's nothing wrong if you're an extrovert versus an introvert, because a lot of people are like, well, I'm introverted, so I can't possibly build my personal brand. It's too hard for me to get myself out there. It doesn't matter. You can go to a networking event and talk to 2 or 3 people and make some really good connections, whereas someone who's extroverted might have spoken to half the room, but they've met nobody.
Yeah.
Everybody's heard them, but nobody's really met them. And it's the same online. And because there's someone for everyone. And, you know, you and I are both quite loud and we like to speak, and, you know, we are quite bubbly. For some people, that's really intimidating. So we'd put them off. That's totally fine, because there's someone who can do equally a good job as you and I at what we do, but they're a bit quieter, they're a bit more mellow, and they'll get the job done too, but they're going to be way more comfortable with that person. And that's why with your personal brand, you get the person you actually need and want that's going to help you, because you shouldn't, you know, especially with services, you know, we provide services, you need someone that you trust, someone that you enjoy working with.
And like you said, some people just need some people on their own energy level.
Yep.
Some people just need someone to be quiet and walk them through it, and 100% all for that. Yep. Some people need that energy to lift them.
Yep.
And if that's you, well then, hey, you're going to get it from us. But you know, some people need that. But then again, I too need that. I want to work with someone who's in for the journey and ready to take it all on. If they're feeling it's not for them, well, it's not going to work anyway.
No.
So you're right. And that's why I think stories, and I think LinkedIn, I think video is so important now in particular, because 3 minutes a day, if you can even do that, if it's live or it's just a recording that you pop up on your stories or IGTV, it's so important, because I think people now expect that. And they want to see, and it doesn't have to be all consuming, and it doesn't have to be over the top. It just needs to be you chatting. I've seen that many people that are really introverted, but I've really enjoyed their stories, and I've really learned things from them because of their story, not the fact that they're over the top, but just listening to them. So it doesn't have to be an extrovert thing. It needs to be an authentic thing. If you are an extrovert, be who you are. But if you're an introvert, at least talk and share your story. People still want to hear it. It's not that they want to, make a judgment of you. They want to hear your story.
Yeah, and you know what? If people aren't interested, they disappear. So it doesn't really matter. You've just got to believe that the people who are watching it are actually interested, really need to hear it, or they're curious. There might be a lot of people who are on there judging you and are a little bit curious and stuff like that. Again, that's fine. It means you're doing the right thing if you're getting some sort of traction and noticed like that. So I think that's fine. But yeah, you're so right. Video is the best thing that we can possibly do. And with the cameras that we have now on our phones, there's no excuse. We don't need to get a full film production, even like what we've got here on Zoom. And my camera's not the best here on Zoom, but you can still see me. You can see the way I move. You get a 360 of me. Like, nothing will ever beat face to face, and the next best is being on stage. But after that, you can literally do it from anywhere. You can speak to everyone from anywhere.
And I think it's amazing, like even in my shopping center experiences before all of this, I mean, you could do a press ad or something and like it never gave you the experience. Now, when we do events online and we go live and we do IGTVs of it, and you just, the experiences are just brought to you. And the video editing you can do an in-shot on your phone in front of the TV is insane. There's no excuse now. That's the thing. And I think they recommend, even if it, like I said, just 3 minutes a day, show up somewhere 3 minutes a day. If you can do that to start with, you're on your way. 3 minutes. I mean, I know like Lala from Lala for Business just decided to do the coffee chat in the morning while she's making her coffee. She just puts it up on the thing, talks to you for 3 minutes, done. Because she's busy. She doesn't need to be on there all day. I mean, some of it's like us, we do podcasts and recordings. Well, yeah, we'll be on there more, but you can still show up. So my recommendation is show up. However that is for you, show up. But yeah, and in regards to crafting that, that's where something along the lines of what you do in your online trainings and your personal one-on-ones can give you that confidence that what you're doing is some people just need to know that what they're doing is on the right track, and that's where a coach or some sort of online training can come in that regard. So let me know, where can everyone find you if they want to get involved in more LinkedIn stuff or more personal training, marketing, personal brand training? Where's the best place to find you?
You can get me on my website. It's just relevantbusiness.com.au. You can get me on Instagram, Relevant Megan, and then on LinkedIn, just Megan MacNeill, my name. And yeah, I mean, you can get me on emails, wherever you want to message me, I'll normally answer, because I'm
and especially if you talk about gin, or if you come with gin, might even be a better choice. And any memes about gin, just anything like that. If you want to have one of those conversations like people do with me about reality TV, just DM Megan with gin and that conversation will be starting.
But not that I'm a psychopath, because enough people have sent me the report that gin drinkers are psychopaths. So
I hear that. Yes. Gin is my least favorite drink, but then I went to a friend's place who makes gin. And my gosh, homemade gin is the bomb, and it's changed me. So there you go. If you can find someone who makes perfect homemade gin, I'm all there. But other gin, yeah, I'm getting there, but not there
Welcome
yet.
To the dark side.
I know. I'm getting there. So you watch, it'll turn. Well, it's been awesome talking to you, Megan. It's just been lovely to chat what we love, which is just trying to get people to be their authentic self and show up online. And my way from trying to help them with their you know, their why and how to show up as that, and you providing the tools in how to make that happen in a way across all platforms. I just think between that, I mean, you've got resources online, I've got resources online, they can see you every day online, and same with me. So for all the stalkers out there, stalk the heavens out of us if you want, but you'll find we're just like this, there's not much difference, and that's what we'd like to see from you. Just be yourself, and we'd love to follow you.
Yes.
So thank you so much for today, and go and check Megan out online, and if you need anything personal branding or LinkedIn, she's the queen. So thanks again for being here today, and we'll see you online.
Thanks, Nicola. See ya.